The NFL draft is officially in the books, and 4 former Vols heard their names called over the weekend in Green Bay. But there's one in particular whose NFL career could be especially important to Josh Heupel and his football program. Hey, Lucas Panzica with you from 104.5 The Zone and A to Z Sports. That's right, 4 Vols got drafted over the weekend, a few others finding landing spots as UDFAs. We'll go through them here. In the first round, number 26 overall, edge rusher James Pierce Jr. does end up going on day 1 as he lands with the Atlanta Falcons, who showed just how badly they wanted James Pierce by trading back into the first round and giving up a king's ransom to do it, giving a 2026 first-round pick to the Los Angeles Rams to get in there and jump ahead of the Baltimore Ravens there at 27 to grab James Pierce Jr. off the board. That is quite a haul to give up to get into the back end of the first round, and it shows just how much Atlanta prioritized James Pierce Jr., a guy that we didn't know if he was going to end up going on day 1 after being projected by many as potentially the number 1 overall pick at the start of the 2024 season. So James Pierce does end up in a good landing spot for an Atlanta team that has bolstered its defense already with an earlier pick in the first round, grabbing Jalen Walker, the linebacker out of Georgia. They add James Pierce Jr. to that core and really address a position that has, quite frankly, been a weakness for a long time for the Atlanta Falcons. So there's no doubt James Pierce Jr. was a priority for them, and he has a huge chance to make his mark as a star pass rusher, a position the Falcons have not had much of over the years. So a great situation there for James Pierce Jr. The next Vol off the board, defensive lineman norman-lott, going in the second round, 63rd overall to the Kansas City Chiefs. He joins fellow VFL Trey Smith at a place where you play long enough, you're probably going to end up with the Super Bowl ring. He'll get to play alongside Chris Jones and for defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. Hard to imagine a better landing spot for norman-lott. And then in the 4th round at pick 108, Tennessee wide receiver Dante Thornton, drafted by the Las Vegas Raiders. And to round it out, Dylan Sampson, a little bit later than many would have projected, the Tennessee running back who set records last season, also went in the 4th round, going at pick 126 to the Cleveland Browns. He joins a backfield that already has one rookie in Quinshon Judkins, the Ohio State running back that Cleveland drafted earlier in the weekend. The Cleveland Browns made a habit of drafting the same position multiple times, as was highly publicized at the quarterback spot. They do it at running back too, with Dylan Sampson in the mix. But the most important Tennessee player on this list to me is wide receiver Dante Thornton. We've had this discussion a little bit this offseason during the Nico Iamaleava drama. On the way out, the family reportedly saying that the Tennessee offense was the main reason why they left, which we all understand is laughable, but you understand why that was the approach from a PR standpoint that Nico's camp took, because it is a fact that Tennessee's offense has not exactly pumped successful skill position players on offense into the NFL. Josh Heupel does not have a starting quarterback in the NFL under his belt that he can really tout in recruiting, and the same goes for the wide receiver spot. Whether it's Velus Jones, Cedric Tillman, or Jalen Hyatt, Tennessee receivers to go to the NFL have yet to really make their spot as an impact player in the National Football League. Dante Thornton is another opportunity for Tennessee to have that on their resume in the Josh Heupel era, and he lands in a good spot to be able to do that. The Las Vegas Raiders are starting a new era with Pete Carroll as the head coach, and it's a football team right now that is relatively thin at the wide receiver position. Dante Thornton, as Tennessee fans know, is a fantastic deep threat that can take the top off the defense, and he adds a great speed element to this Raiders team, quarterbacked by Geno Smith. So Dante Thornton is going to get an immediate opportunity to make an impact for the Las Vegas Raiders. It would benefit Tennessee football if he could do that sooner rather than later. I know James Pierce Jr. went in the first round, but I think it's critically important that Dante Thornton finds a foothold in the NFL for the purposes of how this offense is perceived and the way that trickles down to recruiting. A few Vols finding landing spots as undrafted free agents, as Will Brooks, the former walk-on, the safety who starred for Tennessee last year, will join Omar Norman-Lott as UDFA to Kansas City. Defensive lineman Elijah Simmons heads to Arizona to play for the Cardinals, and defensive lineman Omari Thomas will head to New Orleans to play for the Saints. So congratulations to all the VFLs that will start their NFL careers in 2025 as Tennessee continues to churn players into the National Football League.